Thanks for coming to day 7, sticking around for the whole week. I know it's a lot to take in. There's a lot of information. So again, the Facebook page is there for you to ask questions. Don't hesitate to do that. All right, so today we're going to talk about the very last day, helping you to get started, helping you to get going on all this healing that we've been talking about and helping to reverse all this damage. So the very first thing that you want to do today, if you haven't done it already, is you want to make sure that you get on a really good probiotic. If you don't do anything else, do that. That's the most important thing that you can do. Why? Because it's upping our good microbiome, remember? So it's really important to do that. And remember to follow the steps in introducing yourself to one. If you've been taking a probiotic and you're going to switch to one of the brands that I recommended, I greatly encourage you, or switch to a brand that maybe your chiropractor recommends or something that's a really great, solid brand. Make sure that you do it slowly. Follow that schedule that I listed on your sheet a couple days ago. All right. Number 2, evaluate your diet. It's the very next thing you're going to do, and it's probably, aside from probiotics, going to be the most important. You really need to make sure that you're not ingesting sugar. And when I say sugar, I don't mean things like real raw honey and maple syrup. I mean things like all that white sugar and the brown sugars and the fake sugars. All those things have to stop. Does that mean that you tomorrow never have another grain of sugar? No, it just means you really start being very aware of that in your life, and you really start cutting back. And I mean, the goal is to not eat it anymore, but it's impossible for us to never eat it again, I think, maybe. And so I don't think that you should put those sort of stresses on yourself, but really start evaluating that for yourself. My husband's here tonight recording with me, and he keeps staring at me, so I'll probably look at him a lot. But he can probably share a few stories about how difficult it was for us to quit sugar. And when we were introduced to all of this intestinal healing and we started learning about all of it, I started evaluating our diet. And in my mind, we'd been eating healthy for 5-6 years. And I thought, wow, we don't really eat very much sugar. I mean, I don't buy sugar. It's not in the house, and this, that, and the other. And then I started paying attention to what we were eating, and it looked like we were going out for ice cream at least 3 days a week. We were bringing snacks home from the grocery store. They were small, and they were just for one night, but they were still full of sugar. We were sugar addicts, and we still are. We still have to try really hard to make ourselves turn away from that, and we have to support each other, which is awfully comical sometimes. Anyhow, so the next thing that you want to start evaluating are grains. There are a lot out there that talks about grains being really good for you. And while I definitely agree that at one point in time, grains were good for us, there were definitely vitamins and nutrients and minerals that we could have received from those products. It's really just not the case anymore. There are very few grains on the earth right now that aren't genetically modified. And there are very few grains on the earth that if they're not completely GMO labeled, they're definitely going to have some modification that's been done to them over the years, especially wheat and rice, that really they're not the same product they were when they were created on earth. When Jesus walked the earth, there were seven different chemical compounds that created wheat. There's over 100 now. Our bodies just don't recognize what's been done to our food, especially grains. And so it's just safer not to eat them. If you can bring yourself to let go of them, I greatly encourage you to do that. The one thing I want to encourage you not to do is to go out tomorrow and start researching all the different recipes you can make that look like your grain items and start trying to substitute. I tried that for a long time. I've talked to a lot of people who have gone that direction, and it's very disappointing, number one, because they don't taste the same, especially when you just ate grains that day or the day before or even a week ago. They don't taste the same, and they just make you disappointed and make you want to go back to what you were eating, especially younger kids. And so it just kind of leads to a road of failure. And so I just encourage you, if you're going to try to let go of grains, just to let it go. And maybe try to let go of one thing a week. Like maybe this week you don't have bread, or you only have bread at one meal. Maybe next week you don't buy any pasta. And that's really the key. Don't buy it. And then you can't eat it. So that's good. Unless you're on some special night out or something. And then, that's almost mildly permissible as you're going through this weaning off process. So the next thing that you'll want to start evaluating are the fats in your diet. And if I would almost consider evaluating this in the beginning, because it's so important that we have healthy fat. When you're eating foods with fat, there's a lot of books out there. I'll try to post them this today to help you guys. But there's a lot of books out there that talk about how fat is actually very healthy for our bodies. But it can't be like Bojangles fat. It has to be real healthy fat like avocados and nuts and really healthy grass-fed meat. And so, and so it's really important that you evaluate what you're taking in. If you're eating the Walmart special ground beef, stop it. It's not good for your body. It's full of GMOs and full of grains and antibiotics, and it's just bad. And so if you're going to spend money on anything this week, if you're going to try to evaluate your grocery budget, put it towards healthy grass-fed cow meat or pasture-raised chicken meat, okay? And then, of course, fish is a really good source of fat, too, just making sure that that is obviously wild-caught fish. That's really important. If it's farm-raised fish, it just harbors tons of toxins, and it's really bad for your body. So, all right, another thing that you can start looking towards doing is cutting out starchy foods. All of our foods have starch in them, and on some level. And so you want to start trying to eliminate some of the ones that are really high in sugars and starch, like grapes, or potatoes, or carrots are actually really high in starch. And so you kind of want to start not necessarily taking them away, but minimizing them. Maybe not giving it to your child every time they want a vegetable, maybe like once a week, or maybe even twice a week if that's what you have to do. Cutting out pineapple, cantaloupe, some other really bananas. Oh, bananas is a really big sugary fruit. It's not that you never eat them. You just really try to not buy them unless it's like a special treat. I have a friend who's been going through the healing process for their gut, and they have had to eliminate a lot of foods along the way, and they're starting to add stuff back in, and she added bananas for her daughter's birthday, and her daughter broke out in this huge rash because her body just wasn't ready for it yet. And so just remember to pay attention as you go along. If you're eating a lot of one food, what you will tend to do until you learn how to open your palate and eat a variety of different foods, you may find that you'll start getting irritations from it, and it just means that your body's not ready for it right now. So just start paying really close attention to the things you eat. Okay, so the other thing that I would encourage you to evaluate with your diet is some sort of diet plan that may help you in the process so that you're just not kind of out flittering about trying to figure things out day to day. Make a plan, set some goals, and work towards those so that you can do this more successfully and in the time that you wish and that you think is best for your family. Which, of course, that's going to be really different for everybody. The diet that my family uses, which I think I've mentioned before, is GAPS, which is very much paleo with a couple of tweaks in the beginning. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a really good diet for a lot of people, but it's not for everybody. So evaluate what's out there and start working towards something that works for your family and for their particular situations. All right, so the third thing you're going to do is you're going to start evaluating your body. You're really going to start paying very close attention to what your body's trying to tell you. So you're going to pay attention to the rashes that you get, pay attention to your bowel movements. Those are extremely important. I'm going to post a chart for that today, if I haven't already. And just pay really close attention to the different things that it's telling you and start listening to it and following its lead and giving it what it needs. On that line, I will say that as you move along the process of healing, there's going to be times where you're like, it's so wrong. Everything it's telling me is so backwards, or maybe there's so many different things it's saying. I don't know what it's saying, or I'm not hearing anything at all. What do I do? Feel free to reach out to the support Facebook group that we're creating. The Inside Scoop. It's really going to be a great place for people to come when they start hitting plateaus or have questions that they don't know how to answer. If you want to be added to that, please let me know and I'll add you to it today. Okay, guys. Trying to work through this so this one's not so long. Another thing that you want to do is Zyto scans are a really great option if you're local. Trisha does them at a lot of the classes that she does. And then if you're not local, maybe I can help you find someone in doTERRA that does them. That's really helpful and just trying to give your body exactly what it's requiring. If you don't have a Zyto, I encourage you to, if you're using oils, smell through the oils and utilize the oils that smell best to you. And then, of course, if you have a physical ailment that the oil is very appropriate for, then you can do that as well. Another really good thing to do when you're evaluating your body is to really pay attention to the different supplements and medications that you're currently on. I'm not telling you to turn around tomorrow and stop taking every medication you have, but definitely stop taking all the supplements that are extra that you've taken because they're going to do this, that, or the other, or up this or up that. If a doctor hasn't explicitly said you have to take this, I would encourage you to maybe consider not taking it and look towards giving yourself a few weeks to let your body start talking to you so you know exactly what it needs and start evaluating what's happening. And then also kind of to get a baseline of where you really are, and then you can start figuring out what supplements you really need right now. And then of course medications, they hide so many of our problems that sometimes if you can let go of them, it might be a good idea to consider that and figure out with your doctor which ones would be good for you to try to wean off of. Okay, so another really good thing that you can try, of course, we've mentioned Lifelong Vitality before, so I won't go too deep into that. But it's a very fantastic whole food supplement that would really help you to get on track. But I still encourage you to take a few weeks with no supplements so that you can kind of see where your body is and really hear its aches and pains, so that when you start taking something like Lifelong Vitality, you know what kind of difference it made and where it's taking you. And then another really good thing is decide what needs the most attention. Most of us, it's our intestinal tract, and so we know that we're going to start there. But maybe for you, it's cutting stress out. Maybe you really need to cut down on the stress in your life and get some probiotics in you before you can really consider cutting back on medications and changing your entire family's food. So just consider what your body needs most and start working from that area. So you don't want to try to do everything at once. It's too overwhelming. It's a recipe for failure. So, all right. So number 4 is evaluating your stress levels. So I am very aware that we're never going to be able to completely take all the stress out of our lives. And so I'm not suggesting that you look at your life and you go, okay, this is stressful and that's stressful, so I'm just going to let it go. If you can do that, great, do that. But most of us can't let go of the stress in our lives. And so I want to encourage you to use your oils and to work with those things that you struggle dealing with, so that when you have those stresses come at you, you're dealing with it from a much better perspective and it's not so overwhelming. That's really the main goal here when you're dealing with stress, is learning how to deal with the things that come at you in life instead of trying to run away from them or make them go away. Clearly, if it's something that can, then that's great. But all right, so another thing that I would encourage you to do if you have a hard time with stress is to look at one of the Stress Less classes that we do. I'm really going to work in the next couple of months of trying to get videos on YouTube of classes, so that should help some people that aren't local. But if you're local and you want that class, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Okay, so sleep. Sleep, very, very, very important. We talked about this yesterday. The importance of sleep. When you sleep, you heal. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you really need to start there. It's extremely important that you get sleep. If you're getting 4 hours of sleep at night, or you're getting super broken, interrupted sleep, use your oils. Try to remedy that situation. Evaluate your diet. If you're drinking a ton of caffeine, or you're eating a lot of sugar, or if every time you lay down you have a laundry list this long, there's oils that can help you with that. But there's also a lot of other things that can help you. There's prayer, there's meditation, there's exercise really helps to calm the mind. There's lots of different things you can do to help get a better night's sleep. Also another class we do, so I can help you out with that if you'd like. All right, so evaluating your environment. So look at your house. Again, another class we do, a detoxification class. So if you're looking at your house and you're realizing that you have Glade plugins everywhere, and you use, super strong softener, and you're using laundry detergent that's full of chemicals, and you use, bleach as your cleaner, and all these different heavy laden chemicals, and you're using lots of plastics to drink out of and eat out of, you might want to consider giving that a break and start taking some of those things out. All right, so another thing that you can do that is really going to be super helpful is getting rid of your personal hygiene products that aren't natural or healthy. This is going to take time, and a lot of our bodies are going to have to go through a very serious detox time in order to let go of these personal hygiene products, especially things like deodorant and shampoo, and switching to a more natural makeup and those sort of things. Like, it just takes time. And I want to greatly encourage everybody to let go of perfume. If you wear perfume, stop it. It is so full of heavy toxins. I really encourage you just to let that go and to move on. Shower more. Get some essential oils. Spray that on you. There's much better ways to smell nice. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was to encourage you guys to be gracious with yourself. This is not something that happens overnight. In fact, for a lot of people, this isn't even something that happens in 6 months or a year. It just takes time. If you're going to move forward and you're going to start making changes in your life, be gracious with yourself. Be gracious with your family. A lot of families, when there's more, you've got more than one personality and more than one person dealing with different situations, it's just going to take time. And so just focus, make a plan, focus on what you can, and move forward slowly and listen to everybody's bodies and everybody's needs and take deep breaths. What I want to encourage you not to do is to start moving forward and feel like everybody's fighting against you and give up. Don't give up. Be gracious, but don't give up. It's worth fighting for. Healing your family, healing yourself, moving forward to where you're going to have healthier generations in your family that can survive that third generation Pottinger's cats problem is so worth it. So I really want to just push you guys to just keep going and do one thing at a time. Make the changes that you're capable of making and move forward. And reach out to the support groups for help. I'm setting that up because I want to be here for you. I want everybody to be able to have somewhere where they can go. Something I hear all the time is, I really want to do this, but nobody in my life supports me. I have nobody who feels the same way I do. Almost every single one of those people that have come to me and said that and have had some time to work through it, all of the people in their lives are now moving in their direction. So they were strong and they stood up for what they believed in and what was good for them and good for their family, and now other people are changing their lives. Who doesn't want to be that person that brings beautiful, wonderful healing change into everybody else's life? So be strong, take a deep breath. Don't let people's comments and personalities get to you. Just do what is best for you. Believe in what you're doing. Research what you need for your family. Don't take my word for it. Get out there and look at what information is available to help you make a decision that's right for your family. Thanks, guys, so much. I'm so excited that I got to spend this time with everybody. And come here, Shane. I want you guys to meet the man that supported me. He hasn't showered. I don't care.
I'm dirty.
He's my lovely, supportive husband who, when I told him to start eating healthier, was like, no. The vegetable doesn't come out of a can. I don't want it.
It's true.
But he's different. What did we have for dinner?
We had crock pot chicken, Brussels sprouts, and what was the other thing we had?
It was roasted turnip root.
Yeah, turnip root.
It was really yummy.
It was very, very good.
Yeah, way better than Taco Bell.
Mm.
And you feel good right now.
Yeah.
You're not sleepy.
Nope.
Tell the audience the first time after we started the healing diet process, the first time that we sneaked on a date night and allowed ourselves to have a half of a bun.
Oh, yeah, we decided to go to Walmart to do a little bit of shopping, and both of us were walking around with incredible brain fog.
It was actually Target, because we went to BT's Burger.
Yeah.
And we let ourselves eat the bottom bun.
Yeah. And just walked around in fog.
I felt drunk.
We look at each other like, what is going on?
I can't even think. I'm so tired. And I think that's how people feel all the time. And I think about the way I felt that day and the way I feel if we ever cheat now. And I think I felt like that all the time before we started all this. And it's kind of revolutionary how awake I feel now. But so I just want to encourage everybody. It's possible. It took us 5 years to stop eating sugar. It'll happen. You can do it. It took us 5 years to stop. It was 6 years. It was 6 years before we stopped eating grains and sugar. And it's been a year now, and we've cheated a handful of times.
And regret it every time.
Yeah, actually, the last time we cheated, I felt pretty good. It didn't affect me much at all. So that was really a good sign for me that things are moving in the right direction. But usually, I would get a migraine or feel really like I had the flu the next day because my body was having to work so hard to push out the toxins. But I'm starting to get past that, so that's really good. You'll get there.
One day.
I love you. Thank you guys for joining us, and we're here for you. So come back and ask questions. Have a good one.
Bye.